This person who is coming through right now with the energy of the Hierophant is a very traditional person. And it feels like there are certain traditions that they never got the opportunity to experience fully or witness them kind of playing out and themselves being a participant in previous connections, things that they may have seen other people close to them kind of like go through that sort of bonded them to other partners, different sorts of rites of passage, or again, things that kind of adhere to well-known traditions or very like unique special traditions that are just kind of close to them or areas of interest or their upbringing that they are now seeing in this connection with you. It is possible to have all those experiences with a romantic partner that they feel like they had missed out on the opportunity to have with others. It feels like in the past, these traditions or the idea of like a traditional approach was something that either didn't resonate with the types of people that they were dating. And so, in the interest of, kind of adapting to those people's needs and requirements, this person sort of put these things on the back burner and, like, well, I guess they're not as important, because love is what matters. And so, whatever I need to do to kind of just show up and fit into this other person's world, I'll do that. But they always had a sense of being deprived of something. They always regretted kind of like not taking certain steps. They might have even thought to themselves maybe it was failing to adhere to these traditions or kind of just casually sort of pushing those things aside that could have been part of the reason that like previous connections weren't successful. So now that they are in the here and now with you, this is somebody it feels like that is pulling out all the stops to do things the right way, to do things the traditional way, to do things in a way that might not necessarily, be very popular in the modern sense, but it kind of speaks to days gone by and something within this person where they have recognized in other people, and even just thinking back on people in their lives, previous to right now, of like, hey, these people sort of followed these steps and things worked out for them. So maybe this is an opportunity to try to go about romance in this sort of way, and this could be that missing ingredient for success. This card of the Hierophant is also a card of marriage, and so this is somebody it feels like that has long-term plans or desires as far as this connection with you is concerned, but they don't want to rush forth with that, not because they're uncertain, but again, it feels like there are certain traditions that they are wanting to adhere to, or more of a, like a slow and steady approach to do things the right way, because they feel a deep, intense, profound connection with you. But there's a part of them that feels they've had the experience of deep, intense, profound connections with other people, and they just, quickly, or relatively speaking quickly, kind of turned into all about sex, or they rushed into a relationship, they moved in with them, it got really serious, and that was something that they almost feel like didn't contribute to laying a solid foundation with another person. The element of patience, the element of self-restraint, the element of allowing things to unfold and develop and have time to sit and settle before taking steps further, that was missing from previous experiences. So they are hopeful, that maybe as they share some of these traditional approaches with you or these ideas with you, or you're able to kind of decipher those based on how they are moving in conjunction with where you're at right now in this connection versus sort of like intentions that they make known, and efforts that will let you know they're thinking about you in a long-term and serious way, like dating to marry, that you will be on board with kind of this approach that could be a little unorthodox, different from what you're used to, and it feels like definitely different from how they've moved in previous connections. So they don't do this with everyone, they're just sort of like doing this with you, because there's a part of them, instinctually speaking, that feels other romances, they failed, they didn't work out, it didn't have like what it was going to take in order to sort of stand the test of time, or they rushed in very quickly with people without sort of aligning on those deeper kind of layers that whatever this sort of traditional approach applies to, that it would have revealed if they'd taken the time to kind of get to know the other person, or sort of put their foot down as far as like, no, these are important things to me. It's like they just sort of yielded and went with whatever direction the other person had wanted, and they feel like they missed out because of that. So don't confuse this person's sort of like slow and steady approach to just wasting time, or that they're not certain about you. They're in fact very certain about you, and they are very hopeful that this is something that this approach will help the two of you to really solidify something between the two of you, not just in terms of like potential ups and downs in life, but something that can help the two of you to kind of access a deeper and more sacred bond with one another. We also have the Two of Cups. Yeah, so this person sees you as wish fulfillment, happily ever after. They may think of you as their soulmate. There's a sense of this person knew very quickly that they had feelings for you. They knew very quickly, maybe even that you were the one. This could have been like a love at first sight situation, or something within them that just kind of, when they were in your presence, early stages of dating, was like, yeah, I think that traditional approach that I feel like I've missed out on, that other people that I know have kind of like, they've taken things in that direction and it seems to have worked, or they're like thinking on previous generations and kind of how people did things, and those relationships lasted. This is something where a part of them said, hey, there's this certainty about you, the viewer, and this also feels like the right situation to try out that approach, to see if that is something that can help to kind of create this cushion and also this impenetrable fortress within which this love can grow, that is different from things that might have just been kind of built very quickly and then sort of failed to thrive, or were easily kind of infiltrated by doubts, outside influences, stress and pressure from everyday living. This is somebody that sees long term with you, and they are really putting their faith and confidence in the fact that if this is meant to be, then it will be a circumstance which responds very well to this process, to this slow and steady process, to this traditional approach. So far, so good. I mean, this is something where it feels like this person isn't just like, okay, I'm going to try this, and, we don't know, we're going to see what happens. This is something that it's like they've already sort of set the tone and the pace in this way, and it feels like you are responding very well to that. They are responding very well to that. Their heart, their higher self, their soul, maybe even other people in their life that they've sort of confided in about this, or they're getting advice about this, or they're sort of sharing these conscious intentions with. Again, this is not somebody that is like slow and steady because they're fearful, they got cold feet, they don't want to commit fully, they don't know what they want, or they want multiple options. This is somebody that is very certain you're the person for them. And it feels like they've given themselves their own blessing to kind of like proceed in this fashion, but they're also getting a lot of that positive reinforcement from others who are looking at this and are saying, yeah, this is something that definitely, has worked for us. It's worked for other people. If you feel that this is something that is working for you and for this individual, you, the viewer, then continue to kind of like take things at that pace. So this is somebody that they got like really deep feelings for you. They are falling in love with you fast. But rather than rushing things at this point, this is somebody that is almost like, we need to do things the right way because I want closeness with you, but I don't want to lose you later. So definitely like trust in this person, that it feels like they're going to reveal more about this. It's not just kind of like, okay, they're setting the tone and pace and you're just expected to sort of follow along, be very kind of complacent or submissive to that. This is something where they want to kind of share a bit about their background. They want to, kind of tell you those intentions, make those things known to you, so that you are actively involved in this process, so you know what you're getting into with them. And something that definitely speaks to kind of like the building stage of the connection. It's not the power dynamic for the whole connection. It's like at this particular point in time. Because again, this is somebody that's like, they want to date you to marry you. And so in order to get to that place where this is, like a forever bond between the two of you, this is something that it feels like this slow and steady traditional approach. This is the route that they have chosen to get there. We also have the Four of Swords. Yeah, so this person thinks about you a lot. They dream about you a lot. They hold a lot back as far as like words and expressions of feeling at this particular point in time, because there's a sense that it's almost like time is our friend in this circumstance. If we take things slow at this particular stage, the rewards for that are going to be exponential further down the road. This is somebody that is exercising a lot of personal restraint at this point in time, because again, the historic approach, kind of the more natural approach for them, was to, okay, I really like this person, we really got this connection, let's do this, let's jump in head first, let's just experience all of it right up front. And that has been something that has systematically led to disappointment. That approach, like they've come to that conclusion prior to meeting you, that if they had taken time, they might not have gotten involved with certain people, because they would have taken the time to like realize who those people were before giving them their heart, or, you know, linking their life up with them in some sort of way. It would have been a good vetting process for people that wouldn't have sort of the patience to kind of, you know, defer rewards in the interest of like the hard work that it takes to sort of build the structural integrity of a relationship. So this is something where this person has kind of come to this understanding prior to meeting you of like, if I meet somebody and it feels right, I feel that spark, you know, I feel that kind of like whoosh of energy and love and affection and emotions coming up. That's the clue. That's the indicator to kind of activate this plan of the more traditional approach, which it feels like there are certain steps that this person has in mind. There's a certain process that involves. This isn't just somebody that's like, I'm going to drag my heels and, you know, I'm going to kind of control the outcome and we're just going to sort of crawl along in this situation. This is something that there are layers. There is time between like exchanges and needing to sort of sit within, needing you to kind of sit in the midst of things that you have shared with one another, to lean into that place of patience, to trust in the process, to also, you know, bring you to a place where you are invited in that empowered sense to sort of question this person. This is not somebody that just is trying to sort of dictate terms here. They're definitely open for you, like saying, hey, I need some clarity, I need some direction. What are your intentions? That's part of this traditional approach. This is somebody that dreams of like an equal partnership with another person. Like, yes, you each have your own roles within the partnership, but something where communication is very open. Like, you're not afraid to even have difficult conversations with one another, and you don't hold back or suppress or kind of like put your own sort of curiosity or needs or interests on the back burner. That feels like something that this person has done time and again in the past. They put their own desires and needs aside and they poured themselves fully into whoever it was that they were dating or in a relationship with, what those people wanted, what their idea of like happily ever after or good connection was, and it failed every single time. So this is somebody that is feeling like that dream connection, that long-term partnership, you know, a marriage that once we say I do, that's that. We're not like going anywhere. It continues on. They dream and hope and feel very strongly that that is something that is not only possible, but almost guaranteed in a way through this approach. It feels like you are already like many steps into this process with this person. This isn't something that was just a light bulb moment and all of a sudden they're like, okay, now this is what I'm going to do. And, you know, so things are going to change up between the two of us. It feels like this is something that very quickly when they met you, it was like, yeah, this is someone that I feel very deeply with. So it's time to enact that plan. And if things continue to go well, then I'll know that my heart was right in directing me towards this person. And so far, so good. You know, you're responding to that, you're pushing back when necessary, or, you know, when you feel like it. And this is something that it's all part of that wish fulfillment. It's all part of that dream come true. This is somebody who has wanted an empowered partnership with another person that adheres to, or, you know, fits into some sort of traditional approach, but also has the space for kind of the expansiveness of who the two of you are as individuals, you know, to be kind of within that. You also have the magician. Yeah, so this person has a plan. You know, you need to kind of trust them as they sort of reveal certain aspects of that plan to you. This is somebody it feels like that knows they need to continue to kind of offer you information as far as those intentions are concerned. This isn't like some big dramatic conversation that takes place where then it's like, oh, okay, I get it. I understand sort of what's happening here. But this is an experience of like little by little, you touch on different aspects of what again has been sort of something which they grew up with, something which they saw other people like from generations previous went about things this way. Other people in their life currently have taken this approach to partnership and they're still married to their partners. So this is something where this person is trying to do things this way because they see that long-term potential with you. They see you as someone that they want to marry. And so this is something where they don't just want to kind of move forward very quickly in that direction, because this is someone that's looking at it like, I am very certain about you and we have our whole life to enjoy one another. But it's very important that we take certain steps at this particular point in time so that there is a greater guarantee of success in a long-term sense. Because it feels like when this person loves, they love with their whole heart. They love with everything that they are. And so this is something where, you have touched on all of those kind of like right aspects within them. You've pushed the right buttons within this person, and they continue to become more and more confident, more and more certain that sticking to this plan, sticking to this process, sticking to this kind of like traditional approach, that this is the right decision here, that they've listened to their heart, they've listened to their intuition, they're getting a lot of positive reinforcement for that decision, like internally and externally. So it feels like this is someone that will continue to take things one step at a time with you, will open up, will share more about that with you so that you are actively involved in the process and can trust them in what might be a very unique unfolding of a love story, but something that definitely, has long-term implications to it. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.